I've been watching some film about Hitler and the concentration camps, Auschwitz and other, and what they did. Do you know probably 95% of all Americans have no idea about the Holocaust, no idea about the millions of Jews that were killed and millions and millions and millions and millions of little children that were gassed, families. And yet we have a group called ISIS that is saying the exact same thing that Hitler said, Doctor.
Yes.
Is that right? Did anybody believe him? I guess maybe after a while they did.
Oh, after it was all over in 1945, everybody started saying, oh gosh, Mein Kampf. Why didn't we read it in 1933? Well, we're doing the exact same thing now. ISIS is not writing a Mein Kampf, but they are putting out on social media their version of reality, and it's Sharia law, and we're not going to go into the details of what Sharia law would mean for every woman and child in America. It is about slaughtering Christians by the tens of thousands.
Every
it's about
Christian
annihilating
must
Israel.
die under their law.
Yes.
Every Christian must die or recant Jesus Christ. Is that right?
Yes, or be crucified. Literally, they're crucifying people.
And every Jew, Jews have no hope.
None.
Because they can't recant. They'll just be beheaded or killed in any fashion. But here's what I want to say. The EMP bomb, if it ever falls in the hands of ISIS, this is their ideal weapon because they believe that all Christians and all Jews should be slaughtered, should be dead.
Yes. Let's face it, we're at war.
Absolutely.
We are at war, and we have been at war, and when is America
You're
going to wake up?
one of the few people that says we're in the Third World War, and it's time we wake up to the fact we're at war.
Yes.
We have an Ebola war that if the scenarios, if the Ebola marches from the south, and you've talked about that, and we'll talk about it while you're here yet. I've got too much on this plate right here. I don't want to get overflowing. But the Ebola, if it comes to the third world nations to our south, where would they come for medical help? Are you listening to me? Where will the millions come from the south? Where would they come to get well? Where will they come to escape the fact that they don't have the facilities to handle them? We couldn't handle 1 or 2 cases without many problems. What happens if there's thousands of cases at some point? Am I right or wrong?
We have less than a dozen hospitals in the United States with the level of quarantine and treatment capability to handle Ebola. Now let's look at the hospital in Texas. They had to clean out the entire ICU ward. There was 24 beds in there. They shut the entire unit down for one person. Consider the logistical nightmare, the moral nightmare, the financial nightmare of treating but 100 patients in America or 1,000. And Ebola, as you and I talk, it is increasing at an exponential rate, meaning it's doubling approximately every 21 days. So one person infects 2, 2 infect 4. You do the math, after 10 or 15 times, you're up into the thousands, and then the tens of thousands and the hundreds of thousands, and it's coming straight at America. We've only gotten the first taste of it just now. There's going to be more. And like you said, it's going to come across the southern border, or what I'm really frightened of, ISIS will use it as a biological weapon, infect their jihadists, bring them here, and cut them loose.
Right.
I don't know why the week of the expo I'm watching Auschwitz and the slaughter of the Jews in a documentary. Actually, the people in England produced, the BBC produced an amazing documentary. And Hitler basically said, I'm going to take over the world. I'm going to destroy the Jews. And yet people acted like they didn't know it.
What was even more disturbing was there was a book called Mein Kampf that Hitler wrote in the mid-20s that outlined his program. I actually require students in my World War II class to read the book. Now, why was it took until 1945 for people to suddenly look at Mein Kampf and go, you know, 400,000 Americans died in this war fighting against Hitler and against Japan when the blueprint was there in the 20s, but we didn't do anything then. What was Winston Churchill saying to the world at Munich in 1938 when Chamberlain came back and saying, oh, I'm bringing peace in our time and Hitler's are going to be our friend? And Winston Churchill gave a very clear message. And through his courage and leadership, it was a near-run thing. It came down to the gallant few during the Battle of Britain holding back an invasion. This is razor thin how close Western civilization came to collapsing. I believe this is the equivalent of being in Munich in 1938 or it's December 5th, 1941 right now. We're on the edge. We have to react.